Talus World. So it's a hazy IPA brewed with Talus hops. That's a new hop variety, and when we heard the name and it being so close to Tulsa, we knew we had to spoof it somehow. So, we figured we'd kind of connect it with Tulsa World paper. We kind of do a lot with you guys, so to us it was like a funny way to kind of just poke at you a little bit. It's nothing official, but we were just trying to be a little silly with it, I guess you could say. So it's always fun when there's new hop varieties. They get experimented, and those get released as numbered, and the next year they get a name. And yeah, when this one popped up, we had to jump on it. So it's a hybrid of Sabro, which is a pretty interesting hop, but you're definitely going to have big citrus notes, pine, coconut, just different juicy characters that make it a fun hop to incorporate into our brewing schedule. So 6.8% ABV, and it comes out here at the tap room tonight, and it'll be available here. And typically we have them here, and then maybe in a week or so later you can find it around town a little bit, but probably a small amount. Mostly come to the brewery if you want it. Today we're adding two 30-barrel lager tanks. So a 30-barrel meaning it's a double batch tank, so one of the larger ones in our facility. But these tanks are really cool because they're specific to brewing lagers. So they're horizontal and long versus tall, and that helps with the fermentation and the yeast character in the beer, and is a more traditional way to ferment lagers. So it's kind of funny. We make some really crazy-ass beers and use some extreme ingredients, but at the end of the day, Old Solera is our #1 selling draft pour. So joke's on me. People want to drink just like really tasty, crisp beer, and but we want to give it to people, and so it's a way for us to grow. What's neat about these tanks is you can vertically stack them. So these will be one on top of the other. So in the same footprint of one, we can have two. So we've gone from one 15-barrel to two 30. So we've increased our ability to produce lagers by 400%, I guess. And so the timing couldn't be perfect. Interesting with the way the world is, of course, we ordered these things long ago, last year. And then, of course, the freight to get them here was going to cost more than the tanks themselves, because like shipping stuff overseas is just not cheap. So we waited patiently for the right window, and luckily that day is today that they arrive. And there's no worse kind of sick feeling in your stomach than rolling up with a forklift to new tanks and having to slowly load them off and be so careful not to drop it or do anything weird to scratch it. So I'm looking forward to getting them. A little nervous, anxious about unloading them, but once we get them in and plugged in, the timing should be just perfect rolling into spring with a lot of really fresh, crisp beer from our brewery. If we're brewing in them 2 weeks from today, so it's 2 months from today that we'd have the first beers out. We take about 6 weeks on our lagers, and that's why it's more important to do a larger volume, because we need to spend more time on them. So to do a small amount and wait so long is silly. But yeah, so what we're talking is February. So yeah, so April-ish and in March you'll see new beers out of the new tanks.